I can't tell you the miracle that is because this has been ongoing.
Yeah, you can. That's 10. That's a lot of money. That's a
That
lot of
is
A lot of
money.
money.
absolutely beautiful. Love
And
hearing it. I'm tearing up, to be honest.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello, I
Liz.
have an emergency. I need you to come in here. There's a frog in here. Please hurry. Hurry. Okay, love you. Bye. Hi, Liz. We have an emergency.
Yes, that sounds like an emergency. Oh my goodness.
It's just happened. It's going to go somewhere. And then he's going to have to come in here. He's going to come in here and get it.
Your eye on it.
Sophia isn't going to try to
Well,
get the
Sophia's
dog.
not in here. Oh my goodness. If Sophia was in here, we would have a massive problem.
Uh-oh.
Many problems, mountains of problems.
All the problems in all the world.
I'm like pointing to it so I don't lose track of it. Stay. Stay. I will free you. He will free you. Oh my gosh. It's leaving. It's leaving. He's 7 feet away. Where the fuck is he? I was going to say, you should move faster. Come on.
Watch this.
Hurry. I'm dragging your feet. I don't even know where it's at now. It hopped that way. Where it's at, but it's somewhere over here in this vicinity, under the chair. Under the chair. Under the chair. Being recorded, so be nice. To me. Making all that noise. Got my bare little toe-toes out and everything. Y'all. Shit.
Said he is dying.
Remind me not to walk outside barefoot. Might catch a snake next time. Did you get it? Did you find it?
Yes.
You got it? Good. Thank you so much.
Yay. Thank you.
Stop. I'm going to holler in their ear. Oh my God. If it pees on me.
Oh my God.
Why do you have to be 13? Why do you have to be 13?
That's something my husband would do too.
Shove something in his face. I don't know what. Something. Okay, now that we're back, welcome, y'all. Welcome. This call is being recorded for quality and receipt purposes. Okay, listen. So, Roz, real quick, I just want to give you the opportunity. You shared something with me the other day that you got in the courts of heaven about something. And I know that you're going to work and you don't have a lot of time, and Ange wants to come in and share her whole experience. So can you just touch on that for us so that we have it on the record so that maybe we can make it a topic of discussion in 7 hours?
Well, basically, I heard, what are the rules of engagement? That was just like out of nowhere. I was actually on my way to work. I drive in silence. I don't listen to music. And of course, thoughts flow through your brain, everyday stuff, but then that creeped in and I don't know where that came from. So I knew that wasn't me.
That would be Jesus.
And yes. And, I don't know the rules of engagement, so I had to look it up. And of course, it brings up military, and I guess in times of war. And then I, in turn from that, I'm like, okay, it can't be that because, I'm not engaged in no war. But then I said, okay, well, what does it mean in reference to the Bible? And I also went into Janet, I guess, to ask the same question. And what I've gathered is basically you like peace. You want to have peace as much as possible. You don't want to go to war. And if you have to go to war, it cannot be for your own personal gain or your own personal need. It's, basically like for the good of others. And if you are going to go to war, you have to prepare spiritually beforehand. It just reiterates peace, love, grace, humility, everything that we're growing into, basically.
That's beautiful. I know Lola's going to say something about this. So before Lola says something about this, whatever point Lola's going to make, yes, you are. Yes, you are. I saw it. I heard it. You're going to make it. But I want to say this because that goes back to the native lifetime. And I know that probably most of you haven't heard Raised by Spirit all the way through the ending, but like, you know, enough about the past lifetime to know that like after um, certain people died there amongst their tribe, they took revenge, right? Like we remember that. And that was not two wrongs don't make a right. Two wrongs don't make a right. So the laws of engagement are applicable there, and they are also applicable in the now because the stage that likes to be in the front foremost of things right now is pushing exactly that war. It's exactly that. Enoch's been present lately. Little did I know when they said that you were going to rewrite that I was going to rewrite the Bible that we were going to start with the Book of Enoch. Little did I know. Here we are. Because Enoch was the first, like the whole book of Enoch, apparently. It has its things, all of the creation, but it's so fucking combobulated that I have spent 3 days trying to section out and put it together. But it's essentially it's the first court of heaven, the explanation of the Pleiades, and then how that's going to trickle throughout humanity. And that's where it's not Enoch anymore. It's biblical, where they mention the courts of heaven biblically and the accuser biblically. And then the final judgment that Enoch tells is about the final hearing in the court where all accusers are, they either submit to the Most High or they cease to exist. So, just so y'all know what's coming next. Ange wants to come in. She had like this beautiful experience that she shared with me. And then she's like, I don't even think her text messages were able to grasp whatever this miraculous thing is that happened. And she's like, I want you to share this. And then I'm like, well, we can meet sometime, get on a recording if that, if that's what you really want to do, which I would love to do because it's super important. It's kind of the job. Let's go in order here. I'm gonna put everybody in order so that we can have some kind of organization here that never really matters anyways. So
Never really matters anyway.
listen, I want you to tell us your glorifying story from start to beginning, like we don't know nothing.
Okay. So I nailed down when we started to have, I mean, we've never really had a super easy road, but although we've lived better than most. But when Tony got out of the military, I just went through the Walmart thing and we settled back here to take care of my mom. Everything kind of rolled along pretty good for a while, and then they wanted us back in person instead of remote, and we weren't going back. So we both took different positions within Walmart. Tony's didn't exactly work out for us, so he took another job. Worked that job for 7 days, and we work in transportation, so that's with drivers and trucking. And Tony realized that their drivers were breaking the law by driving their full 14. And if you don't know anything about trucking, they can legally drive 11 hours, but they're given 14 hours in their day to do other tasks related to driving and loads and things like that, but they can only drive 11. These drivers were driving all 14. He tells the manager above him, and they fire him the next day. That was 2.5 years ago. And my husband, up until 3 weeks ago, was unemployed that entire time. And I was working for a while during that, making a lot less money, but still working at the DC. And we started to have real problems because depression was something he'd never been fired. And he also, the gentleman who fired him, rather than, admit anything, called him incompetent. And Tony took that just really hard. And it messed with him for a long time. And so we both emptied our 401ks, lived off that for a while. I came home because my marriage was in trouble, and that's the priority. And if I had continued to be the only one working, I'm not sure we would be together, because it was that assault on his manhood and then the resentment I started to feel. And there was this tug and war between me being empathetic to what he was going through and me being completely just wanting to beat him over the head.
Plus the
Just
financial strain. Plus
the
the
finance.
financial
Okay,
strain.
that's
On
just
top of
that.
everything. Yeah.
Right. So we got to the end of everything that we had extra, 401ks, any savings, all that, about last summer. And we got behind in our mortgage, and we talked to our mortgage company. They did a forbearance for six months, I believe. And then, so we were up to about $16,000 behind, if you add up what we were already behind and then the forbearance. So at the end of the forbearance, when we call them, our options are they want 25, 50, or 75% of what we're behind.
Can I ask real quick?
Yes.
What's a forbearance actually? Like, what does that mean?
Well, they just basically give you a length of time where you don't make payments. The payments are still counted as late. The payments are still, but they're not pursuing foreclosure.
I see.
They're giving you time to get the job or whatever it is you need to do.
Okay.
And so at the time when we spoke to them, Tony still did not have a job. So all of these things that they were spitting out that they wanted from us, so you take $16,000, they wanted 25, 50, or 75% of that. And then we only had 6 months to pay off the rest of it with an additional $2,000 a month on top of our house payment.
How is that even helpful? How is that even helpful?
It wasn't at all.
I mean, aside from the fact that you're not going to be kicked out within 6 months, but how is that helpful in the long run?
It's not, and Tony has military retirement and disability. And through the last year, that went from, in pursuing his disability rating, went from 40% to 90%. So we went from getting basically about 1,500 between retirement and disability to almost 4,000 a month. So that's what we were living off of, and It's not enough. It takes about six grand to run this house. And
so it's everything but the mortgage.
Right. And then a week ago, I did Jenn's meditation in the courts of heaven. Now, prior to that, we had to sort through some religious trauma stuff that I had, because I had a serious kind of.
Oh my gosh. Let's talk about that though, right? Because Phoenix did as well. I had told you. And yeah. I mean, yeah, go on.
Well, the first time when I started to play, I don't know which one. It was either part 1 or part 2 where you're explaining how you even got to the meditation. And I had just a visceral reaction to the blood of Christ wordage. And I was like, whoa, I'm going to stop that right here. And because that's not doing it justice, and it wasn't. And I knew. And that's one thing that I'm sure all of you learned as well through some source or the other. My source was Jenn, was to pay attention, that's an unhealed thing. So I stopped it, and I started watching the other ones, and another day, and then I started commenting a little bit, and I finally just messaged her. I was like, okay, I need to wrap myself around. And so we talked, and I spent some time over the course of the next couple of days getting through that. And I felt like I was good, that I could listen to it, and I could, not judge it, not lean one way or the other, just be a part of it and be open. Because I went just as far the other direction from anything biblical, from anything.
You were raised.
Oh, absolutely. I wasn't really, we were in church, but that wasn't a foundation. But as a child sex abuse survivor, and a lot of things I went through as a child, I leaned hard into it because In the South, that's what they give you.
Yeah.
You don't really have any other options.
Yeah.
Anything else is demonic, and accordingly, according to them. So I leaned into that for a very long time, and it did. I mean, it was what I had, and I raised my children in the church, and they had a very happy, stable life. They didn't live in the crazy that I did, and I don't regret that at all. I have had to apologize for a couple of things that I got wrong because I was, you know, taught wrong, but that's okay. They're good. It never took with them anyway, really. And everybody's good. But the thing with, I think particularly why it had such a reaction was I've been spending a ton of time in the Gnostic texts and understanding what the purpose of Jesus actually was versus the we're born with sin, we're born wrong,
And you
all.
were looking into this before the blood of Christ triggered the shit out of
Oh,
you.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. I mean, I've been in those for probably 6 months. And not just reading them myself, but reading scholars who spent the time doing that and what their take on it was and different interpretations of words. So I got through all of that, and I felt like I could actually do the meditation and give it the respect that it deserved, and not judge it and not sit from a distance with this and Jesus of blood of Christ kind of shit on my face. So, and by the time we did it, I was open and I went through it. My experience was different. I did see adversaries, but they didn't present as physical people or entities or anything like that. It wasn't any kind of a form. They were jagged edges with words on them from my lineage. They were just these almost like broken glass or a broken mirror, and they were all lined up. These just shards, and each one of them had a inequity, a sin, a slight, an abuse, whether it was adultery or child abuse, child sexual abuse, whatever it was that ran, financial fraud, theft, all those that ran through my side or my lineage. And then in front of me were the same kinds of shards of glass, but these were mine. These were things that I still had out there that I had done. So I could see them, and beside me, as I'm visualizing the court, Jesus is beside me. And then the next, it's like it was a blink. Everything kind of went dark, and then the next thing I saw was him, giant. He was huge, kind of like Atlas with the world, except he had this glass globe in front of him that had a hole in the top of it. And inside that glass globe was this court. And his arms were wrapped completely all around this court. And I just kind of took that as my message that he had this. He's got it. He holds the whole thing. And when I finished, I'm not going to say I was paralyzed, but I literally could not move. I didn't recognize exactly. I was sitting on my porch, which is where I always am. And I didn't recognize where I was at first. It was like, oh, I'm out here. And then I just couldn't move for probably 3 to 4 minutes. And I just have to say, it just immediately felt different. I felt loosed. I felt like an enormous amount had been lifted off of me.
Right. Yeah.
And so today, we get ready to have our conversation. This is exactly a week. Last Friday's when I did this meditation. And it's Good Friday. And we go to have our conversation with the mortgage company, and we're ready to pay the money. And she's like, oh, well, you've been approved for this payment plan. And we're like, what? Thought you couldn't do that. She was like, well, we worked with the VA and we're doing this. And It won't start until June 1st, but your payment is 2,000 blah 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 X dollars or whatever, and we just added it on to the end of your mortgage what you owed, and that's it. That's all you have to do. And we're both just like, wait a minute, where's the catch? Where's the shoe?
Right.
What's, are you sure this is it? And she's like, yeah. And so that is 100% doable. And without having to dump every dime that we have and live off $300 for the next 2 weeks,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like, it's
So
the
they
first,
relinquished the whole plan and said, here, just start fresh?
they didn't relinquish it as in they added it to the end, which is something they told us that they couldn't do because of
Right.
the loan.
Right.
But somehow they worked with the VA and were able to do it through a loan modification without touching our beautiful, glorious 3% interest rate.
Right.
Um,
Right.
yeah, it extended our mortgage, obviously, but we're in our home and we're not in danger of losing it, and without having to dump every cent that we literally
Yeah.
have.
Right. No, that's
And I can't tell
holy.
you the miracle that is, because this has been ongoing.
Yeah, you can. That's 10. That's a lot of money. That's a
That
lot of
is
money.
absolutely beautiful. Love
And
hearing it. I'm tearing up, to be honest.
I think this is just the beginning.
I do too. And let me tell you something. You said something to me after I did the meditation. You said, Angie, I feel like you're going to be on this meditation like stink on shit. You're going to blow it up. And today, and see, I don't do, if you go look at my TikTok, it's grandbabies.
Mhm.
It's kids. It's my daughter's pictures from Hawaii that she takes. I don't get on there and say anything, and I damn sure don't get on there and sell anything. However, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I've already started it. I'm going to learn how to duet something, and I'm going to do a little bit of my story with that meditation, because it does not need to be missed. And I don't have a huge circle of friends, but I have covered them up with it.
Listen, why wouldn't you? It's like, do you want all the goodness? Because I want all the goodness and you deserve all the goodness. And I found out where all the goodness is.
Right.
So like that's where it's like, you want to shout it and be like, just try it.
What's really interesting is my friend Stormy, I just kind of saw her as still kind of stuck in some old religious stuff. She kept sending me this stuff, and I just kept dismissing it. And so when I sent her the meditation, she was like, this is better, so much better and so much more in depth, but this is what I've been trying to show you. I'm like, I apologize. I wasn't there yet, babe. Sorry.
Right. That takes a lot for an Aries to say, by the way. Let it be noted. Let it be noted.
Thank you. I'm just going to say thank you, not do the normal thing. Which is, you know what it is you discount everything.
Yeah, not no more. Not no more.
No.
I think your visuals in it is like amazing. And it seems, because like all these ladies have done it. They've all done it. There's some similarities.
Yeah.
That I'm seeing with people. And then there's like several different things. Like you're the first person that I know of that's seen like the shards of glass, which is, I just never heard anybody mentioning any kind of shard of glass in the courts of heaven. So the fact that that's what you saw, and then you saw all the piece on there, is like mind blowing.
At first I was kind of disappointed, because I kind of wanted to see what those particular things manifested as. What?
Why don't you tell them what some of them look like?
Are they ugly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of depends. Like I've seen, yeah, they look like creatures. Like I've seen some with fangs. I've seen some with like gargoyle wings, and they snarl and they hiss, and they're just very loud. There's screams. It's a lot.
Dragons. I've seen a lot of dragons,
Yeah.
but there's good dragons and bad
I
dragons.
was going to say, yeah.
I like to clarify that these dragons were like doo-doo brown, and they weren't pleasant. They were like dragon succubuses,
Mm.
and good dragons definitely don't look like that. They're fuchsia and blue, and they might breathe fire, but never on you. You know what I mean?
Right. Makes me wonder why there was less, almost not necessarily personification, but I'm saying there was not that. It was definitely clear how dangerous and how damaging through the shards of glass, that was representing the damage, but to not, to not have them form like what
Yeah.
they experienced was, I don't know. I I don't know why that, but then, my stuff is always a little bit wonky anyway.
I don't know, man. I think
Well,
that's a very clear way to receive it too, because you know exactly what you're looking at. Number one over there on the generational scale, bloodline scale or whatever. And then like you said, you saw the same thing in front of you. So
Mm.
I'm like, that is very detailed, saying this is yours, this is theirs, and this is what they
Mm.
are. Like with
Right.
Roz, when I went in with Roz, let me tell you, there were from the biggest of them all to the smallest, there were mountains of dragons, adversaries
Oh my God.
for Roz. I have never, yet to this day, I have never seen that many.
Wow.
That many. Liz, did you see any?
Yeah. The one time I did it, I saw remember the one-eyed fish.
Ah,
Oh, yeah.
And then I did the financial one today and I saw like a dark entity.
mm.
Like he was dressed in black, but he was also dark. And I saw a snake today, but I also saw a fox, like
Yeah.
very briefly, a fox.
Swipe or no swiping. Dora the Explorer wasn't wrong on that, bitch. She wasn't wrong on that.
Thank you, ladies, for having me and for meeting with me and sharing this moment with me, because it is, I can't shake it. I don't want to. It literally today, and I had no idea. We had no idea this was coming. This was just doomsday. We were just about to hand them all our money, and so to walk away with that result,
Yeah.
um, I don't know. I don't know that I'll ever be the same from that.